Good morning. I want to call this special meeting of the City Council, which is also working in progress with our regular work session, to order. I'm looking around the room and I don't see any of our ministers here today, so I'm going to actually open this in prayer, if y'all would bow with me. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that you've given us to come together to do the will of the city. Bless each of us as we make these decisions going forward, that we are always mindful of being good stewards of the citizens' dollars, and that we are always open to the input and expectations of others. Bless us as we move forward through the day. In thy name we pray. Amen. Amen. I like the little comments from the baby too. Thank you. The first order of business to come before the mayor and city council is the opening of a public hearing for millage rate for the city of Columbus for next fiscal year. The city of Columbus is now operating with a projected total budget revenue of $23,805,175. 31.4%, or $7,474,315 of such revenue is obtained through ad valorem taxes. For the next fiscal year, the proposed budget has total projected revenue of $24,873,300. Of that amount, 30.4%, or $7,570,000, is proposed to be financed through a total ad valorem tax levy. For next fiscal year, the City of Columbus and the Columbus Municipal School District plan to increase the ad valorem tax millage by 4.17 mils, from 117.02 mils to 121.9 mils. The City of Columbus is not raising their millage. The Columbus Municipal School District is raising their millage by 4.17 mils. The increase means that you pay more in ad valorem taxes on your home, automobile tag, utilities, business fixtures, and equipment and real rental property. As you know, the city published in the Commercial Dispatch and announced the public hearing for today based on the millage rates that I just reiterated. Any citizen of Columbus is invited to speak for a reasonable amount of time before the mayor and city council votes on the millage rate and levy. This hearing is now open. Is there anyone present who would like to be heard for a reasonable amount of time before the council votes?
Over here, Mayor.
Yes. Can you?
Up here.
Do you have handouts on agenda? I haven't seen them.
I'll get some. Okay, thank you for the time this morning. The CFO provided me the actual numbers for the fiscal year ended 2020. I compared those to the 2022 actual numbers, and I compared those to the budget of 2022 and the proposed budget of 2023, and it appears that the proposed budget may not be based in fact, based on the actual numbers, due to the variances. Further, there is a section of the city code that requires the city council to approve raises for the next incoming council and not itself. And I'd like to have an explanation. Here's the learned counsel. Maybe he can provide an explanation of how this sitting council can provide its own raise in spite of the city code. And that code section is section 2-47, compensation of the council.
They amended the city code, that's how they did it.
Is that online?
Yeah, Article 5 of the special charter says the mayor and city council can amend or pass new ordinances at any time. We have an AG opinion written to Tommy Wallace from 2014, I think, saying that the council could amend the ordinance and do it immediately.
Thank you.
Can you send us a copy of that?
Yeah?
Do we have any other statements from the audience? I want to thank all the citizens for their input and to give you one more opportunity. Is there anyone else who wants to be heard on the proposed ad valorem tax increase resulting from the CMSD increase in funding? If not, thank you. The hearing is closed. Council, we have discussed the millage rate and the levy now for several weeks, and I want to thank you for your close attention to the budget and the mill rate, as well as thank the CFO and CFO and department heads for working through this process in such a public and transparent way. At this time, Mr. Brigham has a resolution fixing the rate or levy for the municipality and other taxing districts of which the city is a part. Mr. Brigham, please cover this with the council.
Thank you very much. You have, each council member, I believe, has that resolution in front of them. And it is that the mayor and city council intend to levy a municipal ad valorem tax for the fiscal year succeeding and shall be by this resolution fix the tax rate or levy for the municipality or for any other taxing district of which the city may be a part, expressed in mils or decimal fraction of a mil. Which tax rates or levies shall determine the ad valorem taxes to be collected upon each dollar of valuation upon the assessment rolls of the municipality for municipal taxes, and to be collected upon each dollar of valuation as shown upon the assessment rolls of the municipality for each taxing district, in whole, in part, or from certain tax rates or levies. And these increases are necessary to meet the obligations of the city and the separate other taxing districts to effectively operate. The first area is for general revenue purposes and for general improvements as authorized for the city. It's 37.97 mils. That is unchanged from last year. For school purposes, the millage is 53.25. That is an increase of, as the mayor said, 4.17 mils for the school district. For municipal bond, I say that's in total for the school district, 4.17. For municipal bonds for the school is 10.93. Municipal-wide bonds for the city is 11.05 mils. There are 2.90 mils for loans and special improvement or special benefits levies, 5.09 mils for the city. Totaling, that millage totals, was 121.
I got you.
Okay.
121.19 mils.
Right. Upon approval by the, review and approval by the city council, I will certify the new millage, and that will be delivered to Greg Andrews, the county assessor, upon approval.
And then this will be available to the public as well.
Correct.
After the fact of the board, we have a copy of it.
Pardon?
She's asking, is there been a copy presented to this beforehand? Or will they only be able to see it after the vote? That's why we're here.
Oh.
Yeah, I have it.
I'd be glad to give her a copy.
This is the full copy, isn't it?
Yes.
Council, do I have a motion to pass the resolution just presented?
I make a motion that we move to, that the resolution be adopted as follows.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilwoman Stewart. Any discussion? This is a voice vote. Ward 1,
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
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 Ward 4? Let me go through the numbers, please. Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yes.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries on a vote of 6-0. Next, we'll move into the adoption of the budget. At this time, it is the time to adopt the city's budget for fiscal year '23. Mr. Brigham, do you wish to present the budget?
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor.
The budget for the city of Columbus for 2023 has been, we have worked through those numbers that's been presented at two public hearings. It will be posted in the newspaper. It will be posted in City Hall upon approval. At this point in time, from revenue from all sources will total $29,464,025. And total disbursements will total $24,571,433. And the budget is being adopted in the recommended format by the state of Mississippi. And like I said, will be posted, printed in the newspaper, the packet, I believe, is where it's going to be, and then also posted in City Hall.
Do we have copies?
Of the budget?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's in the back of your,
No, like, what all is in the budget? Like, anything changed from yesterday to today, we don't know that, we don't see anything going on, right?
no, there's not, other than, I think, one salary change request.
What was that again? Fire? Captains?
Yeah.
Did we do it? 16?
No, I need to see a full copy of it
Yeah.
before we vote on it.
Man, they got put up.
Yeah, we didn't ask that to be put in there, I don't know who put it.
Does everybody have their copy of the budget to review?
I got the old one, y'all did a new one?
That's what I said, we didn't get a new one for this morning, if we changed something yesterday, then we should get a copy.
Mr. Brigham, it's at 1550.
It's at 1550.
That was the latest. There was a request to move it to 1650 or 15 captains.
Right.
So it hadn't changed.
So, has it been changed? Has it not been changed?
She said it has, you seen it has.
Well, let me say this, council, the individual salary lines and budgets can be discussed after this budget is approved. The money is available for all the range of salary increases that were in there. You don't have to discuss an individual or a particular section at this time. It can be addressed at a later date.
We're discussing because I mean, half of them here are not at work, so let's go ahead and nip
I'm
it
just telling you what you can do.
when we get that. So what we're gonna do is figure it out. So is it in the budget or is it, are we taking them up to the 1650?
The request, the initial workout was 1550. When Chief Hughes looked at it again, there was a significant difference in that particular position, the increase for that position opposed to the others. So he asked as a request for 1650 instead of 1550. And so it's up to you all to determine that. Everything else he was in agreement with, but it's just that line.
It's my understanding it is still in the budget at the 15, correct?
Yes, it's well within the budget. You can decide at a later time. You don't have to do it now.
But the funds are there.
The funds are there.
Why we discuss?
That's what I just explained.
Why we discuss this?
You explained it, I get that.
We put it in the budget, and we was asking
Sure.
not to be put it in, if we already discussed.
1550 is listed in the budget, but there was a request after you did that
Right.
to ask for that. And so even up until this morning, you all are stating different things. So what we're saying is, it is available, the funds are available in the budget whenever you have the time to decide.
Since we're here this morning to
Decide it now.
vote, whether it's in the budget, but when we vote, what are we voting for, the 15 or 16?
That's
So why would we have
You're
to
voting
vote
for the
on?
overall budget, which the budget is at a level that it can hold either one of those.
Okay, but then we're voting at something, and then we can go and change it tomorrow to $16.50, $1 or $2 for however many people. We're still changing something. So if we're finna vote to approve something, then we need to have everything that we're approving already approved. That's my whole thing. I mean, you got people already around here nitpicking, going in whatever we already doing. So why make another error or small whatever when we can go and do it now?
I make a motion, we raise the captain's salary in the fire department to $16.50.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hands. Three. All opposed, same sign. Mr. Mickens, how did you vote? In the negative or the positive? Sir?
Captains and public relations.
In the negative.
So is that a tie? What is that?
A tie. You
Tie.
gotta break it.
Okay, I break it in increasing it to 16.
Hello,
Yes,
can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, how did that vote go?
I broke the tie to increase the level of pay to $16.50.
Could you identify who voted how?
Yes.
I think I got a bad connection. Yes.
Yes, sir. Councilman Green made the motion to increase the captain's pay. It was seconded by Councilman Beard. There was no discussion. The vote was in favor. It was Green, Beard, and DeChico. In the negative, it was you, Jones, and Ms. Stewart. And I broke the tie to move to increase the pay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
When we put the pay in for, the officer, I won't call the name, but the officer that we were, that's working.
I don't have the detail for a particular officer.
Let's make a 2 year salary.
Take us, I think he won 20 and we.
Oh. That particular person was taken back to a regular 4% raise.
To the regular 4%?
Yeah, and actually, they were brought up because,
To the 12.50?
yeah, well, they were actually, I brought him up to 13 because he was already over $12 an hour.
Can that person not be what it is? A non-certified pay? I mean, he did go to the academy, he just didn't, well, we'll deal with that later.
Right.
And then the redevelopment authority, what do we put them in? We add them something in?
So I mean, 15, wasn't it?
You increased the library's request, correct?
That's correct.
11K.
11K, and then then you took the 44, right?
We still need to make a decision. The council still needs a decision on the development, redevelopment.
It's in there for how much, 44?
44,000.
Moved 11 to the library and left 44 there. Yeah, would y'all like to vote on that at this time?
Yeah, I want to make a motion that we give them 25,000.
We have a motion from Councilman Jones to give the redevelopment authority 25,000 instead of the 55 they requested. I have a second from Councilman Beard. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hands. Mr. Mickens, did you Yes, okay. Motion passes unanimously. What that was the line request from the redevelopment authority of 55 was reduced to 25. Now, do we need to vote on the library?
If we need to, I make a motion that we increase their, budget to
Budget request.
300,000.
Have a motion by Councilman Beard to increase the library's budget request by $11,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Councilwoman Stewart. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Are there any other details of the budget that we would like to discuss?
Did Main Street have an increase?
No.
No.
Any other discussion about the budget? Well, let me say this about the budget. We are optimistic that this is a realistic budget and that we can keep our expenditures next year in line with the projected budget and hope that the revenues will meet expenditures. Also, we hope to keep the public informed throughout the year about how our revenues and expenditures compare with the budget, and we'll be able to make adjustments as needs arise. As stated, these numbers are realistic, and we hope that no amendments are needed, so long as we exercise discipline and continue to be mindful that we need to follow the budget as good stewards of our taxpayers' money. I will continue to remind everyone that this is not our money, but the public's money, and we need to spend their money in a way that will show a sincere concern for improving the city without breaking the backs of the folks that pay the city's bills. Do I have a motion to approve the budget?
Greg, you can come over and say. I think we had an issue with overtime in your department. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, I have 5 guys, 120 acres, 13 buildings, and I really need more guys. I don't have money to get more guys, but I got 5 guys that are doing the work of 12, and the only way that we're gonna be able to keep up is to give them some overtime. And it's a lot less expensive to give them overtime as opposed to trying to hire 3 or 4 more guys. And the other concern that I had was with my utilities. On the information that I have, I spent 61,000, but I'm budgeted 55,000, and I don't have any control over utilities and sewer. Those are things that I don't control. And I'm just simply saying that there's not enough money there to cover it. It's based off of last year's figure.
How much overtime on it? What you budgeted for again?
This year I was given 5,000, but last year we spent 11,000. So I was asking for at least that 11,000, then we can not give out as much, but we can actually keep up.
Was there a reason you had so much overtime last year? Was it just, is it always like that?
Grass grows. I mean, what I'm saying is during the summer, the grass grows. And then I have a program this weekend that's coming up that I actually need the maintenance guys to help me do this program. So there's no overtime to give them. And like I got one person that's leaving at 12, but it's just, I mean, there are programs that we do that in the afternoons after the guys are gone, that we need the guys to come and set up and break down, but there's no overtime to give them. And I'm just simply saying that the 5,000, it needs to be some increase. I mean, if it can go to the 11, and like I said, we're at the 11, it's because I'm not giving them anymore. It's not that it's not needed, I'm just not giving them anymore. So I would have to better monitor that. At least I would know that you got to understand that we've got a guy that's on call that's going to take half of that $5,000 because he's on call every weekend.
Right. Does this overtime include like when y'all have to do setups and different things for?
Mm-hmm. That includes the setups, that includes the night activities. I mean, this year, I've been doing the basketball and stuff like that because there is no overtime. So from 6 to 8:30, programs are still going on.
To go from 5 to 11?
Like, we can take care of it.
I'll take care of it.
I make a motion that we increase parking rec overtime from 5K to 11,000.
Have a motion to increase overtime pay for Parks and Rec. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second from Councilman Jones. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carries 4-2.
Goes to 11.
Thank you.
Now, utilities, I might have to turn some lights off or something.
I'm sure Dr. Riddell will cut them off for us. Any other department head?
Before we do what we gotta do. Everybody good? Make a motion that we accept the budget.
I have a motion to accept the budget. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Councilwoman Stewart. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carries 4-2. Thank you, council. We will now proceed to handling the work session matters. First on the agenda for the work session is revitalization plans for Leadership Plaza. Is Penny Bowen here? Right there. Has anybody seen Penny Bowen? We'll move to, since Penny's not here to discuss Leadership Plaza, that is some plans that she was going to present on behalf of Main Street Columbus. Leadership Plaza, you might know, is over by Hollyhocks, and they have some ideas for improvements there that they wanted to bring before the council. But she doesn't seem to be here, so we will move forward on the Propst Park update. It looks like that Mr. Stafford is here.
Now, I know how Zacchaeus felt standing back there in the back. So I sent y'all an email yesterday, but I got handouts as well today.
Dismissed. Who's dismissed?
That's good.
There y'all are. These are the bids taken from Propst Park yesterday. As I kind of alluded to, I want to get in a little more detail. First off, we only had one bidder, which is concerning to me. We had 5 general contractors holding plans, and basically the timing of the project, once they got into the details, when we're trying to turn it right now and have it ready for spring season, they're busy right now. And they said that timeline was too tight for them and did not interest them at this point in time. I've reached back out to all of them and said, hey, if we put this out at a different time frame, would you be bidding it? Absolutely. I said, well, what's a good time frame for us? I'm thinking after the ball season this next year, and so we would still be rolling with it. They said yes, that would probably normally fit better for their schedule, give them more time to plan. And I said, well, I'll throw that out there to y'all for consideration. Secondly, the cost that's there with only one bidder, you have really no comparison. While it's not grossly beyond our original estimate, it is about 20% higher. And so right now, we all know since our estimate was done in March, costs have gone up. And so I can see that being reasonable. I can't promise it'll ever come down. But I do know that we can go back and kind of look at different ways to afford this. Some of the things Greg and I have talked about, this is the nice Musco lighting like what's in the soccer complex, which is what has been used successfully in the past as a 20-year warranty. It can be actually put out and financed over a 10-year period, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. But the way that lighting works is once you put it in, if a bulb or a fuse goes out, we don't have to touch it. They come back and they replace everything for us for 20 years. It's been happening that way for the last 11 years in the soccer complex, and they still have 8 years to go. So that's one option. That's about a $750,000 item that you can pull off the table from an upfront cost and cost over time.
Do you have any idea of what that would cost? If we can spread this out over how many years?
That's up to y'all. That's kind of why I just want to put all these options on the table for discussion. So that I don't think we'll solve this standing here today. I think it'd be good to get back with Greg and a committee to kind of go where we want to go from here. Because another option is like we did the Field of Dreams. We wanted to try to afford that for that field as well, but it just wasn't feasible. And so Light and Water came in and installed those poles and did the incandescent bulbs that are, I won't call it inadequate, but it's not up to, you know, regular ball these days lighting wise, but it will, and you can play under them. And so that's an option if we want to sit down with Light and Water and see if there's something from the lighting standpoint they can do that will drastically reduce the cost. Now that's the two ends of the spectrum. There are options in between to afford some lighting. So we can look at that as well. And in other words, reduce the spec that was bid out. And so I know it's not what you wanted initially, but it's just one way to save cost. And so now, as far as the fencing goes, fencing's fencing. It was made to match what was at the Field of Dreams, which is a black vinyl coated fence. You know, if we were to go with a chain link normal fence, you're not going to save a lot of money per linear foot, and it's obviously not going to match what was already put in at the Field of Dreams. So, but otherwise, grass fields, irrigation, dugouts, backstops, all those things are pretty standard. We could change the backstop. Right now, it has a 2-foot metal bottom. If y'all remember some of the pictures we showed from the Vicksburg fields that we looked at that were light, that has a netting back, which a lot of, for maintenance purposes, a lot of folks are going to, as opposed to the chain link fencing style. So we could go back and take alternate bids to go back to chain link. Not as aesthetic, not as maintenance friendly, if you will, and the cost we don't think is going to be much in savings from that standpoint. But the other side of the coin is, as y'all know, this was slated originally to be afforded through y'all's 2% food and beverage, which through this next year, I believe y'all are going to have approximately $1.6 million set aside. I believe y'all are going before the legislature this next year to hopefully renew that for another 4 years, which would put another 1.6 in the kitty. I don't know if y'all want to use all that for just approach, but I want to put that out there for another funding source that with time would continue to accrue that could be afforded. And again, give you a couple of examples. As y'all know, the supervisors floated a little over $14 million through a tax levy to actually afford their park improvements. Starkville afforded about $18 million, I believe it was, through a bond issuance to afford theirs. And so y'all could look at those options if you wanted to do something in a bond or a tax levy. I'll leave that up to y'all which way you want to go. I'm not going to get in that debate today either, but I think that's where getting a committee together to sit down and talk about this. I'd hate to rush through this. And again, my biggest concern is that you had one bidder, and while they are local, there are several other locals that said with time, and I'll give you an example, T&M Steel, they're in Starkville right now finishing their part, and they said we have to be done by December. We can't take this on right now, but if done next year, we probably could get to it and possibly go at it. West Brothers, who's building the county's park, they actually landed the Lowndes County School District's project to replace a lot of windows and HVAC units last week. They said that's when they bailed out. Phillips Contracting, who was actually bidding with them, said when they bailed out, they were kind of too far behind at this point to bid it on their own. And I said, well, if I put it out next spring, would you be interested? They said, absolutely. So there's 3 local contractors that, given time, may bid it next time. And I'm sure Weathers will be at the table again, too. So I think that will also help you get some better cost advantages. So I kind of wanted to
read what the bids were for people at home?
Yeah, so there was only one bid, again, through Weathers Contractor, Weathers Construction. The base bid was $2,758,600. That's going to get you the 4 fields put in place, demo, and of course everything that's there. It's going to relocate the road on the eastern side so that 5-wheel fits, and it puts in lighting for the Field of Dreams and also all the lighting for the fields itself. It puts all that's underground, puts in new electrical panel for that area, puts in irrigation on the fields. And then also has dugouts, backstops, and scores tables included. So then there were alternates. The field irrigation was an alternate amount of $143,650. There were 4 alternates total. The second alternate were to put electrical plugs at the dugouts, the scores table, and the spectators area, basically so you can plug up fans and heaters during certain times of the year. And so that was just an amenity that wasn't in the normal or original estimate, so we put that out as an alternate. That one came in at $95,330. Spectator sunshade, basically where we were going to have bleachers, we were looking at a nice metal sunshade that would be over both sides for the spectators. All 8 of those came in at a total of $387,836. And then finally, the scores table pavilion. In the past, Park and Rec has, I think, built and provided those, but I told Greg we would put one in the bid just to see what that cost was. The 4 of those for the 4 new fields were a total of $165,278. So added all together, the total package to get the 5-field wheel is $3,550,694. So that's everything. But again, the base bid, as y'all originally conceptualized it, is a little over $2.75 million. And if y'all recall, even when we did the estimate for this entire phase, which included the parking and all the sidewalks and lighting that goes with it, it was around $4.3 million, and that was back in March of this year. So this was the first phase, just getting the fields in place. The parking would still be as it sits today for those fields in the outlying areas to the east and the west. And so, you know, again, I think that's the first step to get y'all out, and y'all voted to move forward with that of the overall master plan. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions, but in my opinion, the first next step is to sit down and figure out what we want to change, how we want to afford, when we want to move forward with possibly a rebid. And of course, I'll entertain moving forward with this as well. So.
But you recommended to reject the bid.
Correct.
Refigure.
And I wish I could tell you construction costs are going to go down. Like I told y'all with asphalt when we were discussing it last time, those prices have come down. You know, gas has come down, oil has come down. I can't promise it's going to stay down either. But I just think with only one bidder at the table, competition's good. And from what conversations I've already had, I think that will help y'all in the long run.
I also want to remind everybody that this is the overall master plan for Probst Park that Neil Schaefer put together for us in April of 2022. If anybody wants to review this, we have that as well.
And y'all all should have gotten a copy, and in the back there's a tab cost estimate. We broke down each individual recommendation. There's an itemized breakdown for this specific project that spells out the 4.3. Just for this piece, this first phase was actually about 2,275, a little over right at $2.3 million for the piece we just bid. The rest of it is the parking and the sidewalks and lighting that goes around with it. And I failed to mention, this package also included lighting for pedestrians. You know, that was a big thing that came out of that master plan process. The public wants better lighting down there. So this included lighting for pedestrians as well, much less the field lighting, which is about another $150,000 worth of added lighting cost. And again, that's something we can talk to Light and Water with and try to figure out if there's a better way, cheaper way to skin the cat. So.
Well, these quotes were higher than your initial.
Correct.
How much higher?
About 20% in this case, so it's going to be around $400,000.
Should we have a committee that kind of does this? Just a thought that might streamline things to have a few work on it.
I think that would be a good idea.
And obviously, I'd be glad to serve and help on that any way I can.
Do we need that in the form of a motion or just a suggestion or what?
Yeah,
That's right.
we can bring it up at the council meeting.
And formally reject bids then too.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions then?
Any other questions?
No, I'm still asking about the wildlife fishery grant.
We should hopefully hear from that soon. I'm hearing a lot of the grant processes that are all in the queue and review may come out in October. So fingers crossed that we hear from a lot of different grants that are out there come that time. So.
And we also have an opportunity for one with Major Baseball too.
Correct. And we need to get that initial ask letter in.
We do.
Absolutely.
Any other thoughts or comments?
I have a comment.
Yes.
Mayor, I would like to certainly suggest that when the council addresses this committee, that it be inclusive of some of my coaches and some of my travel affiliate teams who utilize that facility on a regular basis.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, sir. All right, at this time, before we adjourn, we could give us an opportunity to have any updates from our COO or CFO.
We've been working with the budget, so we got it done.
Jim, do you have any updates?
Other than the budget and the millage?
No, I'm updated out right now.
Do we have any comments from the council? Do we have any comments from the audience?
Thank you. What about the audit for 2020?
We are expecting that probably at least a month away. Should be in October.
When is Wagner gonna ever give us some update?
They were just here at the last one, giving an update at the last work
I
session.
watched it, I didn't really get nothing.
Well, I think you have Stephen's number if you have specific questions, or we can bring them back to the city council
Yeah,
meeting.
bring them Tuesday if you don't mind, since you have a personal relationship with them.
Really? That's rich. Any other comments? If not, we are adjourned.